I reckon you'll adore this episode of Super Seicento. Hello you lot, Miller Corner here, welcome back to Super Seicento, and now the interior build where we continue to make this little beast more awesome to spend time in continues. Last time I made the interior more comfortable and more refined by stripping it out and then completely sound deadening it to make it more refined, smoother and generally less annoying on long journeys at high speed. The car is now far more pleasant and far less hard on the head and the ears at high speeds and on long journeys. Now we need to make it look nice, starting with the door cards. When these were new, they probably looked pretty funky and pretty cool, going along with the whole feel of the interior, but time has not been kind to them. They're sagging, and as with most second-hand cars, there's an unidentifiable stain down there that frankly I'd rather not know what it is. Even if they were in perfect condition, I wouldn't really be a fan of them anyway, and since they're tatty as they are, it gives me the perfect excuse to pull the door cards off, pull this awful lining off, and completely retrim them. So before we get the door card off, we've got to pull the armrest come door handle off, and to do that it's very simple. We've got three 5mm Allen headed bolts, one in here, and can you see the third one? No you can't, because behind the handle here you've got this little bit of rubber trim to pull out. Pull that bit of rubber out, and there you go, there's the third one in there. Two you can see, and one that's hiding from you. Now time lapse to get all three of them out. Ooh. We have movement. There we go. Free from its ugly, tatty, horrible prison. So now we've got the armrest out of the way. Obviously the only thing that's actually holding the door card onto the door are those really irritating little plastic mushroom clips that are probably all the way around here. I've never taken this off, so I don't know exactly where they are, so I've got my handy audio companions to hand, and I'm just basically going to run it round, and you will eventually sort of find in here where some of these clips are. Ah, there's one. There we go. Which if you sort of pull on it, it doesn't come out. I came prepared with another audio companion more suited. There you go, sort of pops out and makes a really, really painful noise. I think if we shove my audio companion down in there, you can hear it popping. There we go. There's another one. So I think what we're going to do now is a nice little time lapse of me gradually finding all these and pulling them off as a PC World lorry drives down the road. There we go. Door card is off in all its dated, sagging and manky glory. It's getting cold, let's go inside and carry on the next step of our very lovely door card renovation retrim thing. I've sought refuge in my mum and dad's room. You'll see why in just a minute. Anyway, this is the back of a standard Seicento door card, and you may note there's some stuff on it. For a start, the thing that's holding the door card onto the door are these. Now these are plastic mushroom clip things, and these are evil. Basically, they usually fall off in the car and then you never ever see them again, or they break in there, or they snap, or they refuse to come out. They're absolutely evil. But the good news is, for some reason, I presume my car must be blessed, not one of these has come out or broken. They're all here and they've all come out successfully. That's the magic of audio companions. And keep them safe, because if they've had the decency to come out and not break, what I don't want to then do is lose any of them and then not be able to put my door card back on. Anyway, that's going down there next to my lovely cup of tea, because Britain. And now we need to get on with the next step, which is actually getting off the standard crappy vinyl that comes on this door card. Now I've had a bit of a go with it already, as you can see over here. It might look stitched, but it's not. It is actually just glued on or something, but it looks like every single one of these little stitch marks on it has been actually glued onto the chipboard. So fair play to whichever Polish human or robot or machine or whatever it was actually did this back in the day, because that would have taken, I imagine, a fair amount of work. Or I'm an idiot and it was like 2 seconds. But here, there's this foam, which is the padding for the door card, which actually gives it some strength and some depth to it. If you push through, the vinyl stuff, you can probably hear it, is separating from it. So the foam is separate to the vinyl, which is good, because that means we can keep the padding, we can keep the foam in there to give it some strength still, but we can take this hideous vinyl off and replace it with what I've got in mind. So for now, it's just a matter of unpeeling all of this, and you guessed it, it's a time lapse. No tools note, not using any tools, no knives, no blades, no scissors. Reason being, If you go a bit gung-ho with the knife, it's all too easy to break stuff and tear it. And frankly, if we tear this, we're a tad knackered. I do have spare door cards from the doors from the other shell, but not everyone has that luxury. And what I want to do is show you how you can do this easily, quickly, cheaply, simply, without having to buy new door cards. If we do it gently, look, the padding is attached to the door card separately, which means I can pull this lining off and it leaves the padding on. That is brilliant. So now I think you deserve a change of camera angle. Now to put these weird little design creases in, I think they might have made life difficult for me here. Let's find out. Oh, they have indeed made life difficult for me. Thanks, Fiat. All of these bits are really tightly glued down, and they are glued. It's not stitched. This is fake stitching. It's not actually stitched, but what it does mean is it's an absolute pain in the bum to undo. So I think we may have to grab a knife. Okay, so that is now all off. You can probably see around the edge here. What we basically had to do was run a blade down both sides of it and then sort of gently peel a bit of the foam off. So there's a small gap, but there's still plenty of foam on it, which is good because it will then be covered up by this. I present to you the material that I am going to be using for my door cards, which is black quilted leather, vinyl, leatherette, leather look, diamond stitched stuff, and I absolutely love this. I think this is really cool, really classy, and something that's kind of a modern version of the 90s looking quilted diamonds grey stuff that the original Fiat one had on it. This is a more modern, more luxurious, and frankly much classier version of it. I really like this, and I think this is going to look awesome in the Super Seicento with the yellow on the doors obviously. To work out how much we're actually going to need, the easy thing to do, and the reason why I didn't just leave this on the board, is so we can use it as a template. So what you do is basically lay it over this stuff, and remember to fold it all the way out, because of course you don't just want to cut it right to the edge of the board, because otherwise you don't allow for any edges, any overlaps, and it stretches and it ends up ruching when you tighten bolts onto it, and no, bad things happen. Lay the original down over this stuff and then unfold it to accommodate for the edges. Now Fiat have already obviously accommodated for that with their original, hence all these flaps and things you can see, and now we can do the same. I think if we went for about there, that gives us a bit extra. If you see all the way around here, that is what Fiat accommodated for their fold over. Fiat are a professional car manufacturing company that makes millions and millions, if not billions of pounds every year. I'm an idiot who makes YouTube videos, so I'm accounting for a little bit more than Fiat did because frankly, I'm not an upholsterer. But I'm going to go along here with my handy scissorage, cut that out, and then we'll be on to actually shaping it onto the door card, which is the bit I'm really excited for. But if I get this scissoring bit wrong, the good news is there is a lot more to go with. And yes, people in the comments, I did just say scissoring rather than cutting. Chopped! Ready to go. That gives us a lot of room for overhang manoeuvrage. A bit of advice for any of you watching that are going to do this: maybe don't do it on a carpet, because there is a lot of potential there for damaging your carpet, and that's not desirable. We're trying to make things better, not worse, in terms of the world. So I think without further ado, to the garage. With the square of material the right size, the next job is to cut the excess off. After cutting the edges down for a tighter fit to the size of the door card, we then need to tackle the curves. If this were a Cinquecento door card, it would be square and easy, but the more modern Seicento threw a few curves at us. Folding square edges into a curved door card is asking for creases, so we cut a selection of flaps in the material all the way around the curves. Once they're all cut, they can be folded in on top of each other and pulled tightly to prevent sagging and to follow the curve of the door card. Don't cut the flaps too deep though, otherwise it will show on the front. Not classy. Once we're happy with the fitment all around the curves, it's time to cover the material with a film of spray-on glue. It comes out like webbing, so make sure to cover the entirety of the material to make it stick. This will make for a good Spider-Man costume, this stuff. With the back of the new material covered completely in glue, it's lifted away to do the same to the door card itself. Once again, a thorough and thick coating of the stuff ensures that it will stick properly. Then wait a few minutes for the glue to become tacky. Now it's time to stick them together. We make sure the door card is straight by lining up with gentle pencil marks that we made on the back of the material, and we press the door card into place. You don't want any areas of the material sagging, so make sure to press all over firmly for tight fitment. With the main area pressed down, we can then fold all the flaps in. Pull all of them in tightly and again press down firmly to stick them on. For the curves, pull each flap in towards the centre, overlap them where needed and make sure the edges of them are tight against the curves of the door card. The glue stays tacky for about 15 minutes, but it doesn't respond well to being pulled off and stuck back down repeatedly, so try and get it right the first time. With the whole thing stuck down, we can flip it over and admire our retrimmed door card. Ready? Right. Da-na-na-na. Oh. Yeah, doesn't that look mint? That's good, isn't it? Doesn't that look good? So this is one completely done. We've brought it inside because it's a bit warmer in here, and frankly it should dry a bit nicer in here and be in a better chance of being in a good condition. We've already cut a hole here for the door handle to go through. Because that's not removable, it's about the same size as this gap. We want to make sure it's not going to snag the vinyl leather stuff on the way through. So we've already cut some flaps in it, folded them through, and then my dad found these awesome little clamps we can use in the areas where we've kind of cut those flaps in it and then folded them over to keep them pressed down where they're all stuck together. But we have put a bit of cardboard on there, and we've got bits of cardboard on here to make sure that the clamps obviously don't dent the vinyl. Obviously it's just in its raw state here. It hasn't got an armrest in it, it hasn't got a door handle there, it's obviously not on the car, but even in its raw state this looks absolutely awesome. I love this already and I can't wait to see it fitted up in the Super Seicento. Between now and then though, let's jump back in the car and do the other one. It is a new day. It's around 24 hours later and the door cards have dried. The glue is all completely dried and we're very, very nearly ready to actually put these back in the car. But first, there is one more little thing that we need to do. Now, I have already put holes through for all the little bits that need to go through to hold the armrest on, obviously using the same method of cut it into pieces and then flap them around. We won't actually need to stick them down because the actual door rests themselves will push these through. But we've now got to find all the little holes for those plastic mushroom grips that we pulled out. So the easiest way to do it, basically feel for the holes like I can feel one here, gently put the blade through, find it, gradually peel it open, and as long as the clip fits in, I'm happy. So you're now going to join me when I've got all the clips into both of these door cards. Update, after some fandoogling and sheminging and other nonsensical wordsing, all 8 clips are in both door cards. We can actually get them fitted. First things first, we've got to put all the little clips into these holes in the door. That's not particularly interesting to watch in real time, so without further ado, cue the funky music and the time lapse. Okay, and with that, the door card is clipped in. It's already, how good does that look? That looks absolutely wicked. Next up, we've got to get the armrest come leany handly bit in. The grey doesn't go with the quilted black, so we will be doing something with these in the near future, but for now it's all about the retrim, which means the last bit of that retrim is getting these babies fitted back on the doors. 3 screws, a ratchet and a time lapse coming your way. Oh, how good does that look? Right, look, fully quilted leather retrim door card complete. It is just miles better than that crappy old vinyl that was on there before. Just look at the comparison. It looks so much better than it did before. I love the way that looks, and it was really cheap to do as well, because the whole roll of vinyl you saw, that massive sheet I had, cost £18 including delivery, and look at the difference it makes to your interior. I am absolutely chuffed with that, to be honest. I absolutely love it, and I cannot recommend enough that you give this a go with your car, because it costs very little to do. You can do it with any car, no matter how much it costs, what the shape of the door card is. If I can do it, then you can do it as well. This interior is nicely lifted up market to make it a bit different and altogether a bit more classy. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Super Seicento. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell icon if you did, because then you'll be notified when the next Super Seicento video is released. But for now, thanks very much for watching, everybody, and have a brilliant rest of your day. See you soon, and have a good one.